Hi everybody, as I'm recording this video, it is the 12th of September 2022 and the beta for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 version, is just a few days away for PlayStation anyway, and it's about a week away and a bit for Xbox and PC. So I don't know, I just wanted to share some thoughts about Call of Duty, about past Call of Duties, and about what I'm hoping that we'll see in Modern Warfare 2 2022 edition. I wonder what we're going to call it. Is it going to be MW222, MW222, something like that? Anyway, so for me, when a Call of Duty is at its best, and whether that be when you're enjoying the single player campaign or the multiplayer or the zombies, for me it is the pinnacle of casual, or I tell you, it's the pinnacle of video gaming, full stop. I think you really can't have much more fun on a console or a PC when Call of Duty is a great Call of Duty. If you think back to like the single player campaigns of Black Ops 1, or actually I think the single player campaign of Modern Warfare 2 is absolutely superb, and there's obviously lots of other good ones as well. And then the multiplayers, I know that is up for debate quite a lot, but Black Ops 2 for me, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3 definitely. I really enjoyed Modern Warfare 2019, and also Cold War from a couple of years ago. Black Ops Cold War I thought was an exemplary multiplayer as well. And you just can't get better. It really is good. Now, so other games may have higher highs, for example, like PUBG Battle Royale or something like Battlefield 1. But for just having a good, great video game, Call of Duty is up there. So where does my thinking come from this? And for me, it really started, this might surprise some people, back with Advanced Warfare from 2014 on Xbox 360. So what happened was I'd been away from gaming for a long time. I had a PS2 back in the day, probably about halfway through its life cycle, and then I just stopped gaming for years and years and years. And then luckily my son gave me his Xbox 360 because he'd had I think we got him a PlayStation 4. I think he had an Xbox One as well. So he gave me his Xbox 360 and these boxes and boxes of games to go through. And the current Call of Duty at that time was Advanced Warfare. And what I did was I went through and I played the single player campaigns. And he encouraged me. He said we should play multiplayer as well. But it was absolutely dreadful. I couldn't use a controller. So I started off playing against bots on Advanced Warfare and easy bots. And I would play free-for-all against bots. And I would remember I would just be lying in a corner, camping against easy bots. I was that crap to start off with. And then I gradually got to the stage where eventually, and this was kind of my high point of Advanced Warfare multiplayer, was coming top of the leaderboard in team deathmatch games. And I was like, right, I'm here. And I know Advanced Warfare wasn't everybody's cup of tea because it had the jetpacks, but I thought it had a really good campaign with a great story. The multiplayer was really, really good. And it had these amazing maps. You might remember quite a few of them changed halfway through as well. Unfortunately, the zombies was hidden behind a season pass, so I didn't play that for a few years later, and I never have been and still aren't. I'm not really a big zombies fan. It's not that I don't like playing it, it's just that it just isn't sort of on my radar of something I do. And thinking back to Advanced Warfare, if you remember maps like Instinct, which that was the Aztec map, where you kind of started in the caves at one end or down the bottom of the hill with like these temporary offices, like container offices, and there was a temple in the middle and you fought over that, and there was Recovery, which was the volcano. That was the one where halfway through the game you would get a siren going off and all the gas would come through and you had to go through these emergency doors to the second half of the map and fight over that area. We liked Riot. That was the prison map, which had like the basketball courts on one end, and an open area, well, like a car park at the other. I mean, these were all really big maps, but then you could kind of compare that with like Comeback, which was the one in Lagos, which was the smaller map, where you had one of the kill streaks was some sort of artillery strike from outside of the map, which was really good. And I enjoyed these maps, and there was even more really good ones as well. And I think Advanced Warfare got jetpacks right because they were you could see them as jetpacks that maybe we would have today. They didn't allow you to wall run. The soldiers didn't have magnetic feet, and they would just give you a boost in one direction and then a boost in the second direction if you wanted. So you could boost yourself up and boost yourself sideways or forward, and that was it. They were very rudimentary in terms of jetpacks. They weren't very controllable, and you had the exosuits as well, which you could kind of see people having. So I really enjoyed that. And then with the transition from Advanced Warfare to Black Ops 3, I actually I had the Xbox 360 version of Black Ops 3 in 2015, started off with that. And you might remember the Xbox 360 version and the PlayStation 3 version were like chopped off versions of Black Ops 3. You only got the multiplayer, you didn't get any of the campaign, and the graphics level went down. Advanced Warfare and previous Call of Duties on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 looked way better than the Xbox 360 versions of Black Ops 3, which is still fun. But then when I would go and have a go with on my son's Xbox One and his PlayStation 4 playing Black Ops 3, I was like, oh right, that's it now. I need to decide which next gen console I'm going to get. I ended up getting a PlayStation 4. And for me, Black Ops 3 had the campaign was okay. It was a bit convoluted though. It seemed to go on for ages. I played a little bit of the zombies. Remember, it was the one where you had like Jeff Goldblum in it as well. But the multiplayer was fantastic. You had the introduction of specialists now. There was the lady with the bow and arrow. There was that chap who would fire the electro bolts. There was the other lady with the had the grenade launcher, and the maps were really big. It was kind of a bit spoiled again by loot boxes and the season pass are hiding lots of great maps behind those. But when you think back to maps like Combine, which was the small one, which was like on the edge of a kind of a cliff, and it was set in like these buildings, and there was like a jeep in the middle. That was a really cool map. There was Evac, which was set in this flooded city. And I remember that was really cool because you could wall run around the outside. Fringe probably was one of my favourites. That was like set in, an American West, and there was trains in a warehouse on one side and buildings on the other. There was like a good lane down the middle, and then you had these two side lanes. A classic Treyarch 3-lane map, and Hunted, which is the Safari one. Again, really nice big maps, and I felt that Black Ops 3, I spent a lot of time in Black Ops 3. I felt that it kind of jumped the shark later on, especially when you would win a match, you could then do these emotes, couldn't you, and poses, and they really started to spoil the game with that. But overall, Black Ops 3, the movement was taking the next step on from Advanced Warfare with the jetpacks and the wall running, but it was very smooth and very cool, very Treyarch. Then in 2016 you had Infinite Warfare, and for me this is the worst Call of Duty ever made. I can remember playing the beta and thinking, this looks really bad. Surely the real game can't look this bad, and the gameplay felt bad as well. It had jetpacks, had really fast movement, and I thought, no, it can't be right. The full game will be better. And then I remember when the full game came out, and it was like, no, this looks rubbish, and it felt rubbish. The time to kill was way too fast. The time to die, the time to kill was too long. The time to die was too fast. You had these silly specialists you could like turn into a doggy, couldn't you? And I have never bothered with the campaign on Infinite Warfare. I played a little bit of it, and then I got caught in this grenade spam area where I kept dying. I thought, no, I just cannot be bothered. The zombies had this 80 looks. I thought it looked silly. And that year as well, Infinite Warfare was up against one of the greatest multiplayer games of all time, which is, of course, the amazing Battlefield 1, which, for me, is the greatest Respawn game ever made. It really is absolutely fantastic. And you had Titanfall 2 as well, came out, and then later we then had PUBG in the following year. So Infinite Warfare was a real low point for me. It was where they had taken the jetpack mechanics way too far. They'd kind of forgotten what Call of Duty was. But then in 2017 we had Call of Duty World War II, where the idea with that is it was bringing it back. And for me, with Call of Duty World War II, the campaign I thought Call of Duty World War II was a really good campaign. They spent an awful lot of money on the motion capture and the actors, and it was this great story following these American infantry through the campaign through Western Europe and then to the Rhine. And it looked really, really good. When it came to the zombies as well, the zombies looked really good. I probably played the most of this zombies because they were at great pains to have instructions that you could follow, you know, like an idiot's guide to doing zombies. I was like, finally, I actually know what to do. And then the multiplayer came along, and I had a lot of problems to start off with the Call of Duty multiplayer. Like the lobbies didn't work, took them ages to get that working. And with the multiplayer, it looked good, looked very good. But the crippling thing about Cold World War II was the maps in almost every single case were way too small. I mean, way too small, and the time to kill was way too fast as well. Well, time to kill too long, time to die too fast. Sorry, time to kill too long, time to kill too fast. And so they spoiled it. They really did. I mean, you had the better maps that came along were Carentan, which was another larger map that was good. Ardennes Forest, which was the Battle of the Bulge map, which was the winter one, which again was good because it was bigger. And Gustav Cannon I thought was okay, but most of the others were just way too small, and it was just way too fast and missed the point of Call of Duty World War II. I think it was a great missed opportunity. And then they started to ruin it with the silly skins around Halloween. You know, you started having the Halloween skin coming in. I remember seeing the interviews with the devs about Call of Duty World War II right at the beginning, and they were saying, you know, we are going to respect the time period that this game is set up with Call of Duty going back to its roots. But then they didn't at the end. You know, I think if there's any developers who watch this video and who are wondering what is a template for how you should treat a real historical era in a shooter, just look at Battlefield 1. You know, just go to YouTube and look up Battlefield 1 cutscenes, and look at those. They're poetic. They're amazing. The cutscene that ends the campaign in Battlefield 1 is absolutely stunning. So big missed opportunity with COD World War II going in the right direction. It was also, I think, one of the first Call of Duties where the whole idea of playing as everybody played as a goodie was kind of coming into, you know, the idea with kind of specialists. So Black Ops 4 came along in 2018. Interesting, this one. We're back to Treyarch. It didn't have a campaign though, but when you were going through the tutorials, you could see where the campaign had been. And the idea with Black Ops 4 was that it was set before Black Ops 3. So you had wall running, but you didn't have jetpacks. And it was a solid multiplayer. I mean, I felt the time to kill was too long. You know, took too long to kill players. And there was plenty of really good remasters of maps as well. You had Slums, which was a Black Ops 2 map. I enjoyed Contraband, which is the beach map. Gridlock, which was the urban area. And the big thing that they, again, massive missed opportunity, which is a common thing with Call of Duty, was Blackout, which was their battle royale. So PUBG had been out since 2017, biggest game in the world, 3 million people playing it at the same time. I think it was 3 million at its peak on PC, and then you had all the Xbox players and PlayStation players playing it on console as well. Really broken, janky game, but absolutely fantastic. And so you had Blackout come out. And Blackout was really good. It was a really nice map. It was small. It had lots of classic Call of Duty areas in it. But the mistakes they made in it was, one, they hid it behind the paywall that was Black Ops 4. So in order to play it, you had to pay for a full Call of Duty. Remember, games like PUBG was only like £20 to buy. And other versions, you know, Fortnite was free, wasn't it, to play? And I don't think Apex Legends was out yet, but that would be free to play. And they made the looting system way too complicated. Well, it was horrendously complicated as you were running around the map trying to put attachments onto your guns and repair your armour. But I would really like to see the Blackout map come back in Warzone as like a special event or something, because it was a really good map. So Black Ops 4, solid multiplayer, but at the time for me, I remember all I was playing in 2018 was basically PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. You know, that was the thing, and still playing Battlefield 1. Now, Modern Warfare 2019. I was playing this on PlayStation 4 and when an Xbox Series S a couple of years later. Now, we had no season pass, no loot boxes. And for me, this was the game that really put Call of Duty back at the top of the pile of the shooters. It was a more tactically feeling Call of Duty. So you had slower movement, louder footsteps, no wall running, no jetpacks, no swan diving. Almost like something like Rainbow Six Siege. Weapon mounting, bashing through doors. It felt like when you were playing Modern Warfare 2019 that brains meant more than Twitch skills. It looked beautiful. You had these great variations of maps. So you had smaller maps and you had bigger maps. We had 6v6, we had 10v10, and we had Ground War, the amazing 32 versus 32 game mode that was more Battlefield than Battlefield. You know, we'd had Battlefield 5 by now, which was a disaster, and Ground War was absolutely brilliant. No zombies in Modern Warfare 2019, but so many really good maps in it. Didn't have 3D audio, which didn't really matter until the later Call of Duties came out, and we kind of really noticed that. And we did have skill-based matchmaking coming in really strong, where you had fresh lobbies every time, which slowed things down. And I think we've seen that really come to a head with Vanguard this year, well, last year. But if you think about those amazing maps we had, you had Azir Cave, which was 6v6, I think, wasn't it? Gun Runner, which was a 10v10. Euphrates Bridge, absolutely good, love that map. Grasna Raid, for one of the first times in a long time since World at War, you had tanks running around on a Call of Duty multiplayer map. Shoot House, which was the small version. Classic, really good Call of Duty maps. Modern Warfare 2019 was brilliant, and millions of players came back to Call of Duty, and most importantly, they carried on playing it. I think this is because that era of Modern Warfare that's the sweet spot for Call of Duty. With Call of Duty, was it Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original one? That's what people enjoy. That's what they enjoy playing, and they enjoy that slightly more tactical, slightly more slower Call of Duty, where it's not just the kids who are sprinting around headshotting people all the time. Because one of the things that ruins a Call of Duty in my eyes is quickscoping. Quickscoping should be incredibly difficult to do. And in Modern Warfare, they got around that by making your aim down sight really slow. People can still do it, but not like in the Black Ops 2 days when people just run around with sniper rifles quickscoping. You also had in this era, in 2020, we then had Warzone coming out. Finally, Call of Duty did Battle Royale right. It was free. It was big. It felt like a massive map. Verdansk was something else. I remember parachuting in and going, wait a minute, this has got as much detail as an ordinary 6v6 Call of Duty map. How can they do this on this massive scale? And I would argue that Verdansk was probably the perfect arcade battle royale. Not quite as milsim as PUBG, but it was more arcadey. You had respawn in a gulag, you could buy your players back, you had kill streaks you could call in, all that sort of stuff. So it was more casual, more arcadey, but it was really good fun. Problems with it: no 3D audio, and this insistence that has come into Call of Duty to have PC crossplay. And as soon as you've got PC crossplay, what have you got? You've got cheaters. They cannot stamp out cheaters on PC. You do get cheaters on console. You get people who get underneath the map. People who can be using radar, but they generally can't use things like aimbots. Sure, they can have special controllers to control the recoil and things like that, but generally it's not as bad as PC. And I think if there's one thing I would say to any developer now, I'd say have crossplay between consoles, between PlayStation and Xbox. That's how PUBG does it, but do not include PC. PC is a big enough market where they can play against themselves. So it was in a really good place, Warzone and Modern Warfare 2019, and then Black Ops Cold War came out in 2020. And for me, this was better. This was the first Call of Duty where on the opening weekend, I spent 3 days playing it, and I had prestiged by the Monday. I think it came out on the Friday. I started playing on the Saturday, and I had prestiged by the Monday. That I enjoyed the shooting mechanics so much. We now had 3D audio. The maps looked good. It was incredibly fast. It was a good Treyarch, so it was faster than Modern Warfare 2019. But you could still play tactically, but it rewarded a little bit of faster gameplay. It was a classic Treyarch map, taking me back to the days of Black Ops 3. The zombies was okay. I didn't really play much of them. But the big fault that Black Ops Cold War had was that there wasn't enough content at launch. But I think over the year it caught up. It had good skins, there's baddies versus goodies, solid gunplay, and the campaign was fun as well. It was a quite an interesting Cold War type campaign, not up to the highlights of something like Black Ops 1, but definitely better than Black Ops 3. And then multiplayer, if you think about maps like Satellite, Cartel, Crossroads in the snow, Armada on the ships, and Garrison, classic 3-lane Treyarch maps. Really, really good fun. I enjoyed it incredibly. Whew. And then we had Vanguard in 2021 last year. And I was playing this on the Xbox Series X, so next generation. And yeah, so this is where, unfortunately, Call of Duty lost its footing again. I don't know why they can't get World War II games. Very good, but they did. It had this, I'm going to say it's a silly campaign, trying to be politically correct about World War II. It didn't respect the era. The zombies was weird. It was kind of round-based zombies all the time. The multiplayer, now with the multiplayer, the maps all looked good, and we played the beta, we played the alpha, we were playing King of the Hill, I think it's called, and it looked good. But you could only play as the good guys, there was no bad guys this time. And in the multiplayer there was a great variation in map sizes, and none of them were really too small, but all of it was absolutely ruined by the tactical pacing system, which if you didn't play it, what happened was you could have like 4v4, 6v6, 7v7, 9v9, 14 versus 14. I think it went up to 20 versus 20 or something like that. But it always seemed to choose the wrong number of players on the maps most of the time. So you'd be playing on one of the smaller maps, like I think it was Casino or Hotel, which should have just been a 6v6 map or 7v7, and it would be 10v10. Or 14 versus 14, and it would just be chaos, and it was just stupid, and it just ruined it as well. It would be a typical situation which happens, for example, in a game like Battlefield 2042 these days, where as soon as you shot someone, you'd appear on the minimap and you'd be shot by somebody else, you'd be third party. So, very, very disappointing. Weapon customization got too complicated. I think you had 10 different things you could change on your gun, which is mad. The time to kill was too long, and the time to die was too short. So what that means is, in order to get a really good balance in Call of Duty, it needs to feel the same. So when you're shooting someone and they die, that should feel the same as when they're shooting you and you'll die. I think this gets affected things like ping and network lag, but it kind of reflects other things that are going on in the map. And then they jump the shark with the skins, and they're still jumping the shark now. It's a World War II game. Players want, or if they're like me, they want military simulation type skins, and they'll pay for them. We don't want cartoon characters. We don't want Attack on Titan skins. It's crazy. There were some good maps though. You had like Demyansk, which was a snowy farm on a river. You had the Desert Siege map, was okay in Berlin, but more often than not, or the Pacific one was good. More often than not, you would spawn in and it would be one of the big maps, and it would be 6v6 or 7v7, and you'd be like trying to find players. So please, Call of Duty, always go back to have a fixed number of players on each map, and do it like Modern Warfare 2019. So you can have 10v10 maps, but then you have 6v6 maps. So there we go. And then to go along with Vanguard 21, you had Warzone 21, where Verdansk gave away the absolute disaster that was Caldera. So you went from probably, the greatest battle royale arcade type shooter to the worst. Caldera was just a technical disaster. I remember playing on my Xbox Series S game. This looks like an Xbox 360 game. It was a boring map. The popping was horrendous. You'd be running along and all the popping would just be popping in. And you'd be like, what's going on? Whereas Verdansk had these separate areas that you would go to that had a different feel. It was just jungle everywhere with a few buildings. They would have all these special events popping up, prison breaks, fire sales. No respect for the World War II era as well. And, they could have done, and I think I did a video about this at the time as well, they could have just brought back Verdansk. They could have, after a month, they could say, okay, this isn't working. You'll still be able to play Caldera, but here we go, here's Verdansk. But they didn't, they stuck with it, trying to make it better. But even now, technically, on next-gen consoles, it's absolutely terrible. And in fact, I haven't played it for months and months. So here we go. Modern Warfare 2 2022 coming out in a few days for the beta. I'll be playing it on PlayStation first because they get early access. I'll probably be buying it for Xbox. I would have thought, if it's any good. So what has it got to be? What has Modern Warfare 2 got to be? Well, it's got to be great looking and fast. Obviously, 60 frames a second. We want a technically solid Call of Duty. It's not set too far in the future. It's in that perfect Modern Warfare sort of era. So there's no jetpacks. There's no silly stuff in it. And I think Call of Duty is at its best when it looks towards the sort of players who play PUBG, Battlefield, even Arma or Squad or Hell Let Loose. That's the player base that Call of Duty should be looking for. It shouldn't be looking to try and steal the players who play Fortnite and Apex. You know, they're a different sort of player. And if they do, that's when they alienate them. That's when they bring in those silly skins, and you know, Battlefield players who would normally play Call of Duty are like, no, I'm out. This is silly. This is a teenager's game. I want to see an interesting story-driven campaign, and if it's like the Modern Warfare 2019 campaign, fine. That was an okay campaign with great set pieces, though. You know, those things that we can really remember. Zombies, I don't think we'll get zombies in this one. There'll be, you know, some sort of co-op mode, won't there, like they have, that we probably won't play much of. But when zombies comes next time, again, do it like Call of Duty World War II did. So do it with more instructions. Please, 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 I hope there's cross-play between consoles and not PC. Again, we don't want a season pass, but the Battle Pass system is good with the free weapons. Sensible skins that respect the era of the game. So important. You can put licensed properties in, like we had Rambo, didn't we have last time? They can go in, but make them fit with the era, you know? And make sure, and I hope they do this, that we have goodies and baddies again. So, you know, you have your operators. We can have operators, no problem with having operators. But you have the good side, you know, you have NATO, and you have bad side, which are the Russians. You know, or whichever baddies it is, the terrorists. Don't make us all play as goodies, like they did with Call of Duty Vanguard. You can, as I say, you can have specialists who are okay. And they can have specialist abilities. You can put them in, but don't go mad on it. And I think as far as the multiplayer maps goes, we want good sized maps with sensible fixed player numbers. You can have 4x4 if they do another version of Shipment, but have 6v6 is the classic map size, isn't it? So have plenty of those, and you can have 10v10, but don't switch them around. They are what they are. You know, make the map for a 10v10 or a 6v6 map and design the map around that. The movement speed somewhere between Modern Warfare 19 and Black Ops Cold War. Footsteps again like Cold War and Modern Warfare 19, so you can hear people coming. 3D audio, which I'm sure they'll have. The maps, if they're a bit more 3-lane like Treyarch, that would be good. Because the simpler maps, they support faster movement and gunplay, and the more complicated maps support tactical slower movement and gunplay. But you can have that. But again, the map should respect the era. In Vanguard, there's like a Godzilla film set, which was absolutely crazy, and fast lobbies. You know, ping is king. So you can have some basic skill-based matchmaking. Nothing wrong with that. But maybe try and balance across the teams, you know, and then keep the same lobby for a number of games, so we can be cycling through the maps much faster. Hopefully the network problems will be sorted out, so we have a consistent time to kill and a consistent time to die. Slower than COD World War II, faster than Black Ops 4, but in that kind of Modern Warfare 2019 Cold War time scale. Between 9 to 12 maps at launch, and then at least another 2 coming with each season. And don't make weapons customization too complicated, you know, like Vanguard turned out to be. Just have it like Modern Warfare 2019 was. That was a good number of customizations you could have, and I've enjoyed the leveling up system from Cold War and Modern Warfare 2019, where it's reasonably easy, it's not a terrible grind, and when you get to Prestige, you don't have to lose everything and start again. You just get another badge. So there we go. Not much to hope for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022. But what do you think? You know, what are you hoping for? Maybe by the time you watch this video, we've actually been able to play it, and I'll have my first impressions review of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 beta. We'll have to see. But whatever you think, what are you thinking for? Put them in the comment section below the description, below this video. If you've enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.